So you're thinking about a career in cybersecurity, but maybe you're worried you don't have what it takes. It's a field that can seem pretty intimidating from the outside. So let's break it all down and get super clear on exactly what skills are going to set you up for success.
Okay, this is the big one, isn't it? It's the question that honestly stops so many people dead in their tracks. A lot of people believe that without a super technical degree, like in computer science or math, that the door to cybersecurity is just locked. But is that really the case?
Well, here's the thing. While a degree like that can definitely help, it is absolutely not a deal breaker. No way. In fact, tons of organizations are now hiring people without a deep technical background, and they're ready to train them on the job. The real key to getting in is something else entirely.
And here's the bottom line. More than any specific degree, what employers are really hunting for is a certain mindset. They want people who can show that they have a sharp, analytical way of thinking. It's all about how you solve problems, not just what's on your diploma.
You can pretty much split the skills you'll need into two big buckets. On one side, you've got your hard technical skills. That's the practical, hands-on stuff like configuring a network. And on the other side, you have the soft skills, things like critical thinking and just being able to communicate well. Both are totally vital, so let's get into it.
First up, building your technical base. So even though you don't need a specific degree, you 100% need a strong technical foundation to build everything else on. This is where the real work starts.
And even when we talk about this technical base, it's not just one thing. It's really two different flavors. First, you have the practical skills for specific jobs, like running a penetration test. But holding all that up is a broader conceptual knowledge. It's like a general computer literacy that helps you understand the why behind the how.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting because it all connects. Think about it. Understanding some basic coding helps you see how applications and websites are put together, which means you can see how an attacker might try to break them. All of this is connected by networking, from a small office network, a LAN, all the way to a secure VPN over the internet. This is the digital battlefield you'll be defending. And all of it runs on systems, the operating systems on our phones and laptops. Getting comfortable with those, and especially their command line interfaces, is just non-negotiable.
Okay, so we've covered the tech stuff. But, and this is a big but, being a tech genius alone is not enough. So next up, let's talk about the essential soft skills. These are the skills that separate a good analyst from a truly great one.
And right at the heart of all this is critical thinking. This isn't just about being smart. It's a whole process. It means you're not just reacting to things on autopilot. Instead, you're deliberately, systematically working through information to find the best way forward, especially when you're facing a problem you have never seen before. And this breaks that process down perfectly. It's like a three-step routine. First, you analyze the situation. You gather your observations. Then you evaluate that information. Is it accurate? Is it relevant? Finally, you prioritize it to figure out what matters most and what you need to do right now. It's a framework for making sense of chaos.
But it doesn't stop there. Other skills are just as crucial. Attention to detail is everything when you're staring at network logs, looking for one tiny thing that's out of place. And communication is huge because you've got to explain these super complex threats to people who are not tech experts. And hey, don't underestimate experience from other fields. Knowing a bit about psychology, for example, can give you a massive edge in understanding social engineering attacks, where hackers are manipulating people, not just code.
Okay, let's shift gears for a minute to something that sounds a little counterintuitive. To be a great defender, you have to get inside the head of your opponent. You have to learn how to think like a hacker.
I mean, this quote just nails it. It's really no surprise that many of the best people in cybersecurity actually started out as hackers. They get the attacker's mindset because, at a basic level, they share the same skills and the same deep curiosity about how things work and how they break.
And that makes perfect sense, right? You can't build a strong fortress if you don't know where the enemy's going to attack. You have to learn how to look for the weak spots, find the vulnerabilities, and understand how they can be exploited. That's how you build defenses that actually work. It's all about being proactive, not just cleaning up messes. All right, this brings us to the final and maybe the most important piece of the puzzle. This is the one thing that ties all the other skills together and guarantees you can have a long, successful career. We're talking about the lifelong learner mindset. And listen, this is absolutely critical. The world of cyber threats is never, ever static. New attacks, new malware, new vulnerabilities pop up all the time. The defense that worked yesterday might be totally useless tomorrow. In this field, if you're not learning, you are falling behind, and falling behind is dangerous.
So what does this actually look like day to day? It means you have to be actively engaged. You're constantly reading, keeping up with the latest best practices, and following what's new in the industry. It's a true commitment to educating yourself, both on the job and in your own time. The learning truly never stops.
So, after all that, hopefully the path forward is a little bit clearer. It's a blend of a solid technical base, sharp critical thinking skills, and just a relentless desire to keep learning. The only real question left is for you. Where are you going to start? What's the first skill you'll start building today?
So you're serious about a career in cybersecurity? That's awesome. But what's your first move? You might think it's another certification, but actually it's something way more fundamental. It's about taking a really good look at yourself. You see, before you can build that roadmap to your dream job, you got to know your starting point, right? So let's get into it.
I bet you've got a goal in mind, right? Maybe you're dreaming of being a pen tester or a security architect, maybe even a CISO one day. That destination, it's probably crystal clear in your head.
But here's the thing. Knowing where you want to go, that's often the easy part. The real challenge is figuring out the best way to get there. Having a clear, step-by-step plan, well, that's a whole different ballgame.
And that's exactly what we're going to build today, a personal skills analysis. Seriously, think of it like a career GPS. It's going to pinpoint exactly where you are right now with total honesty, and then it'll show you all the possible routes to get you to where you want to be.
So to draw this map, we're going to look at two really powerful tools, SWOT and SOAR. Now I know they might sound like some kind of corporate buzzwords, but trust me, when it comes to planning your own career, these things are incredibly effective. So what's the difference between them? Well, think of it like this. SWOT, that stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It's all about being brutally honest with yourself. It gives you a complete 360-degree look at where you stand right now. SOAR, on the other hand, is, well, it's more of a forward-looking, positive tool. It's designed to get you excited and build momentum by focusing on what you're already good at to create this amazing vision for your future. So you've got two different tools, each giving you a really important perspective.
All right, let's start with SWOT. It's a classic for a reason, you know? We're going to break down exactly how to use it to take a complete inventory of, well, you.
Okay, the most important thing to get about SWOT is this internal versus external idea. It's simple, really. Your strengths and weaknesses, those are internal. They're all about you. But opportunities and threats, those are external. They're about what's happening out there in the industry, in the market. You get the idea.
First step couldn't be easier. Just grab a piece of paper or, open a new doc and draw a big plus sign to make 4 boxes. Label them strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This is basically your canvas.
Okay, let's fill in that first box. Strengths. And a key piece of advice here is don't be modest. Seriously, list your technical skills, your certifications, for sure, but also what do your coworkers or your boss always say you're great at? What values do you have that really make a difference? What are those achievements you're secretly super proud of? Get it all down on paper.
Next up, weaknesses. And look, this one can be tough, but you've got to be totally honest with yourself. Where are the gaps in your skills or your training? What's some of that constructive feedback you've gotten in the past? Are there certain things you just avoid doing because you don't feel confident? Writing these down isn't about beating yourself up. It's the first step to making them irrelevant. All right, now we're shifting gears to those external factors, starting with opportunities. So look outside of yourself, at the cybersecurity industry as a whole. What's trending? Is there some new tech creating jobs for a skill you already have, or one you could pick up? Think about where the industry is growing, and don't forget about your network, online and off.
And the last box, threats. What's out there that could get in your way? This could be anything, right? Maybe a new technology or certification requirement that could slow you down, or just how the industry is changing. The key here is just being aware of these things. That's how you prepare for them. So, once you've got all 4 boxes filled out, the real fun begins. This is where you turn it into a plan. There are 2 main ways to look at your results. First, you can match categories, and second, you can work on converting the negatives into positives.
Let me give you a quick example of what that means. For matching, you could match one of your strengths, say you're awesome at Python, with an opportunity, like the huge demand for security automation. Boom, there's a path. For converting, let's say a weakness is that you're not super outgoing. Well, you can reframe that. For a role that needs a ton of deep, independent focus, like threat intelligence, that's not a weakness, it's a massive strength.
Okay, let's switch over to our second tool now, which is SOAR. If SWOT was kind of like the honest, here's where you are reality check, think of SOAR as the optimistic blueprint. It's all about building an exciting future by really leaning into what you're already great at. What's cool about this one is that it's just super positive. It pretty much ignores weaknesses and threats. Instead, it asks these really empowering questions, like, what are you absolutely great at? What opportunities are out there for you to grab? And based on that, what do you want to become? And how are you going to know when you've made it?
The SOAR matrix is also a little different, which is pretty neat. It's built on two axes. One is time, so present versus future. The other is scope, internal versus external. The whole thing is basically designed to walk your brain from where you are right now to where you want to be in the future.
So, the top row is all about the present. It's a bit like SWOT here. You list your unique strengths, the things you can do better than pretty much anyone else. Then you'll look for those external opportunities where you can really use those strengths. This is the foundation you'll build on.
Then the bottom row. This is where you build your future. Looking at your strengths and opportunities, you define your aspirations. And you want to think realistically, like for the next year or so. What do you really, genuinely care about achieving? And then, and this part is so important, you define the results. How will you actually measure your success? This is what takes it from a vague dream to a real, trackable plan.
And for that last step, here's a huge tip. Don't make a giant list of results you want to track. Focus is everything. You want to boil it all down to just 3 to 5. Yep, just 3 to 5 of the most critical, measurable results. That way, you know exactly where to put your energy for the biggest impact.
Okay, so you've done the hard work. You've got this document that's just packed with insights about you and your field. But this isn't the finish line. Nope. This is the starting line for your strategic journey.
You are no longer just guessing or navigating in the dark. It doesn't matter if you use the realist tool, SWOT, or the visionaries tool, SOAR. Either way, you now have a detailed, actionable roadmap for your career. You know your starting point, you know your destination, and you know the steps to get there.
So really, there's only one question left to ask yourself. SWOT or SOAR? Are you going to start with the deep dive analysis or with the forward-looking blueprint? Honestly, whichever one you pick, the most important thing is just to start. So, which map are you going to draw today?
You've gone through and made a list of all your skills, right? You've got your inventory. But you know, a list is really just the starting line. Today, we're going to take that list and turn it into a real, strategic blueprint for your career in cybersecurity. Let's get into it.
So this is the big question, isn't it? It's one thing to know what you're good at, but it's a whole other ballgame to know if your skills actually line up with what the industry is desperate for. And that gap, that's exactly what we're going to bridge today. And listen, right off the bat, let's get one thing totally clear. If you go through this and you find some gaps, that's not a failure. In fact, that's a huge win. Seriously, finding those gaps is the entire point. It gives you a crystal clear roadmap of exactly what you need to learn next. This isn't about what you lack, it's about what you're going to conquer. Okay, so our first move is to start thinking a little differently. We're moving beyond just making a list of what we can do. We're going to start thinking like a strategist, matching our own personal arsenal of skills to what the cybersecurity world is actually demanding. This is where the rubber really meets the road. We're going to take your skills, hold them up against the real-world job requirements, and see how they stack up. It's a reality check for sure, but it's one that gives you incredible clarity on where you stand and, more importantly, where you need to go.
So how do we figure out what the industry wants? Well, we become skills detectives. It's time to put on that investigator hat and head out into the job market. Because trust me, employers are leaving clues all over the place.
Our investigation is going to follow two main paths. First, we're going to dig into the data that's right there for the taking, job postings, and second, we're going to gather some human intelligence by talking to the people who are already in the know, the experts.
Now, here's how you do that detective work. Don't just skim the job ads, you've got to dissect them. Look for the patterns. What skills pop up again and again and again? That's your high priority list. What specific software do they keep asking for? And most importantly, where do your skills already line up? That's where you find your immediate strengths. Job ads are great, but you know what's even better? Direct intelligence. You've got to talk to people on the front lines. Recruiters know exactly what gets people hired. Your teachers and instructors know the fundamentals. And people who are actually in the jobs you want, they've got the real ground truth. I'm telling you, these conversations are pure career gold. Okay, so we've looked outward at the market. Now it's time to turn that focus inward. We're going to audit our own skills, but this time we're doing it with a whole new level of precision and detail. And here's the thing.
This is absolutely crucial. Saying stuff like, I'm a team player or I know how to code just doesn't cut it anymore. We need to get super specific. Vague statements are forgettable. Specific claims, backed up with evidence, that's what's powerful and memorable.
So this next bit is all about backing up every single claim. For every skill you list, you need to be ready to answer the question, okay, prove it, and you answer it with a concrete example. We're talking about everything, your tech abilities and your soft skills. Wow, okay, this slide perfectly illustrates the difference. Just look at the power of that specific statement. It doesn't just say you can code, it tells a whole story. It shows which languages you know, and, this is the important part, how you use them in a real cybersecurity context. One is just a claim. The other is a straight-up demonstration of your value.
And this same idea is absolutely essential for your soft skills. You know, the skills that are so easy to overlook but are so critical in this field. Don't just say you have a trait. Prove it with a story. Talk about a specific time you were under the gun and what you did to come out on top. That's what makes the skill real to an employer.
So where does all this proof come from? It's everywhere. Seriously, look at your past jobs, your school projects, even those personal projects you worked on just for fun. Dig up your old performance reviews. They're great for reminding you of your strengths. And hey, don't shy away from weaknesses you've worked on. That shows self-awareness and a real drive to grow. All right, we've done the external research, we've done the internal audit, we know what the market wants, and we know with total specificity what we've got. Now, we bring it all together to create the final, tangible result, our action plan.
This is it. This is the payoff for all that work. Your action plan isn't some random wish list of stuff you'd like to learn someday. No way. This is a highly targeted, super strategic document that lists the exact skills you need to build to close that gap between where you are today and where you want to be.
Let's be really clear here. We're not just making a to-do list. We are architects designing a career. This plan is your personal blueprint. Every single skill you add is another beam, another foundation block in the structure of your professional future. How empowering is that?
Okay, but what makes a good roadmap? I mean, what's the difference between a plan that actually works and just wishful thinking? It all comes down to the destinations you plug into your GPS, your milestones, and the secret sauce for that, it's setting SMART goals.
All right, so let's break this down. SMART is this fantastic framework that helps you build goals that you can actually hit. It's an acronym, as you can see, for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Think of this as your toolkit for building that career roadmap. We're going to go through each one, so let's get to it. First up is S for specific. And honestly, this is the foundation. If your goal is fuzzy, your results are going to be fuzzy too. It's kind of like trying to find a destination without an address. You need total clarity on what you're aiming for to even have a chance of hitting the bullseye. So how do you get specific? You got to ask yourself these key questions. What exactly do you want to do? Why is this so important to you? And what do you need to get it done? Like specific courses or maybe a mentor? Answering these is what takes a goal from a vague dream to a crystal clear target. Next, let's talk about M for measurable. This one is huge for staying motivated. I mean, think about it. If you're on a long road trip, you want to see the mile markers go by, right? Same thing here. If you can't measure your progress, it's so easy to get discouraged and feel like you're just spinning your wheels. A measurable goal basically answers this one simple question. How will you know when you've done it? It gives you something tangible to aim for. Maybe it's passing a specific certification like CompTIA Security Plus or completing a certain number of projects. That way, you can actually see yourself getting closer and, hey, celebrate those small victories. That's super important. Okay, check out this comparison. It really nails the point. On one side you have, I want to lead a cybersecurity team. Look, that's a great dream to have, but it's not a goal yet. Now look at the SMART version. I want to gain the skills to lead a team within my organization by completing XYZ courses. See the difference? It's specific, my organization, and it's measurable, completing those courses. Now that is a plan you can actually follow. All right, this leads us perfectly into A for achievable. This is all about finding that sweet spot. You want your goals to stretch you, to push you out of your comfort zone, but you don't want them to be so impossible that you're just setting yourself up to fail. Because let's be real, nothing kills motivation faster than feeling like you're trying to climb a vertical wall with no gear. And this example just lays it out perfectly. If you're starting from scratch, saying you'll be the head of a global cyber firm in 5 years, well, that's a bit of a stretch, right? But look at the alternative.
Gain the skills I need to get a job in cybersecurity within 2 years. That's tough, for sure, but it's absolutely doable. And that first job is the launch pad for that bigger dream down the line.
And here's a really crucial piece of advice. Focus on what you can actually control. You can't write a goal like, get that promotion, because that decision is up to someone else, but you can control your own actions. So the goal becomes, as you see here, get the experience and training to be considered for that promotion. See, it's all about framing it around what's in your hands.
Okay, next up is R, for relevant. This is your why. It's the gut check moment. You have to ask yourself, does this goal actually matter to me? Does it line up with where I want to go in my career and, my life? This step is so important because it stops you from chasing a goal just because you think you should and makes sure you're working towards something you truly want.
So, take a second and really look at these questions. Ask yourself, is this goal genuinely worthwhile? Is this the right time for me to tackle this? Does it fit in with my other plans? When a goal is truly relevant, you'll feel it. It just clicks because it's a direct stepping stone to the future you're picturing for yourself.
And finally, we have T for time-bound. The ultimate enemy of procrastination. We've all been there, right? A goal with no deadline is just a someday wish. It's too easy to keep pushing it off. Sticking a deadline on it creates that little bit of healthy pressure and focus to, actually get it done.
This is such a great way to think about it. Don't just set one giant deadline. Break it down. Ask yourself, what's one tiny thing I can do today to get started? Where can I be in 6 weeks? What about 6 months from now? This approach turns a giant, intimidating goal into a series of small, manageable steps. It makes it real, and it gives you a plan for right now. And there you have it. That's the SMART framework from start to finish. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This is your toolkit. It's everything you need to take those big career dreams and turn them into a real step-by-step plan. So now, it's time to build one.
So, just to recap, here's your final checklist. Every time you set a goal for yourself, just run it through these 5 filters. Is it specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound? If you can tick all 5 boxes, you know you've got a solid goal that's built to succeed.
Okay, we've covered all the theory. Now it's your turn. It's time for action. So I'm going to leave you with this one question to think about. What is one SMART goal that you can create for yourself today, right now, to take that very first, very real step into your future in cybersecurity?